The History Brush tool. Now this tool gives you some amazing effects. What we'll do first of all is apply a filter to our background here. Let's go and choose a brush stroke filter, maybe angled strokes to start with. Click OK, and this will give the whole painting sort of angled paint effect. So we're going to actually create a few different filters, and then we're going to mix and match between them using the History Brush. But let me show you how you take a snapshot first of all of this particular filter. What we'll need to do once the strokes have been applied is to go to the Histories palette. Okay, so there's the application of the strokes. Some of it's really nice and some of it's sort of a bit messy, so we will need to edit it. So go to Windows, History, and then click at the little camera here to take a snapshot of this particular state, as it's called in Photoshop. Okay, and there we have snapshot 1, which we shall call angles because of our angled strokes. Let's go back to the original state now, and let's apply another filter. So we're building up a palette of different effects here, different textures and looks. So let's go to another brush stroke, I think, and we'll go for spatter. And you get a very dramatic effect there with spatter, so let's click OK for a bit of that, and that will apply the filter and create another state which we can then take a little snapshot of. Snapshot 1 here again, and we'll call this one spatter. I could have dozens of these if I liked, but let me show you how they work. Let's go back to our original state, click on our main layer, and now choose the History Brush tool from the toolbar. Now let's start with a bit of the angles. I think I'm going to click there. You see the little icon there for the brush? That means now when I spray here, what's happening is if I click on the main layer here, it should be painting in some of those effects. Now the opacity is very low, so I need to increase that to 100%, and you can see now we're painting from that original snapshot of the angled state. Let me zoom in. You can see there now that some of the picture's fine and normal, but this bit here we're actually getting the painterly look appearing just as I click and drag with the brush. Okay, so you're slowly but surely building a very artistic looking painterly image there. Now let me zoom out so you can see the difference. There's the original untouched photo, but there's the painterly looking deck chair. So let's try and apply a different painting effect to these bits here. Let's go back to the spatter state that we took. Click in there to put the History Brush there. Now when I spray here, we'll get the spatter effect. Okay, so we're mixing between the two different snapshots that we created. Okay, so if I had an oil paint effect, I could go and mix in a little bit of that, and slowly but surely build up the look that I wanted for the image by mixing lots of different styles. So the History Brush tool is very, very creative indeed. Let's just hit tab to hide everything, and let's just spray some spatter on these lights here, and then maybe these lights here I'll actually apply the other effect, which is at the top of the History palette here. Click on the angles snapshot, and then just spray. There you go, you get a slightly different effect there. Let's do some angles to this. So you get a very nice effect indeed. So you can build up the image as you like with different effects. Now the other tool is the Art History Brush, which pretty much does the same job, but it just gives you some extra options like some different painting styles, tight, short or dab. So you can do exactly the same thing to sample a filtered version of the image, maybe oil painting, and then use the Art History Brush just by clicking again in one of the filters you've set up. And you'll notice here the brush style is different. I mean, I can go and choose some really wacky loose curls. This will be a bit horrible actually, but you can see the effect. I need to obviously change the brush size and experiment with the tolerance, and just basically work out an appropriate brush size for the image. But the Art History Brush, I tend not to use it as much as the History Brush itself, because you can pretty much modify any of the brushes to get the effect you want, and you're really getting the effect from the filters that you've created rather from the brush shape that you're adding later. Okay, so that's a brief look at the History Brush tool and the Art History Brush tool.